this is a slab that's going to be rolled out onto plastic that I'm going to use to build the spout for the watering can. So I'm just throwing out a slab, so if the edge that's further away from me hits the table first, it stretches each time. So I'm going to go in more than one direction. And do this till it becomes fairly thin. So once I get it maybe about 1/8 of an inch thick, then I'm going to take a piece of plastic and I'm going to roll it out between the 2 sheets of plastic. So I'm going to lay this down. And then I'm going to smooth out all the wrinkles on the top. So that I don't get any imprint of the plastic on the clay. I just want it to be completely smooth. And then I'm going to flip this over and do the same thing on the other side. Now I'm going to roll out the slab using a rolling pin in between the 2 pieces of plastic. And what this does is stretch the clay and the plastic at the same time so that the clay is compressed onto the sheet of plastic, and then it can be used to build with after it sets up a little bit. So I'm going in different directions. Every time I roll on one side, the other side, the plastic's not stretched out anymore, but then when you roll on that side, it stretches it again. So you have to go back and forth on either side. And you want this to be thin. It's a lot easier to build with if it's very thin. Okay, so then this side was smoother, so I'm going to choose that side to leave the plastic on, and then I'm going to peel this side off, and then use my rubber rib to smooth it out. And then I'm going to set this aside to dry. Because it's so thin, it's going to dry really fast, so you have to check on it a lot. So maybe it would only take maybe 20 minutes to dry, so I'll set that aside. And then this is my slab that I rolled out that's already dried a little bit. So it's a lot firmer than the one I just rolled out, and it's ready to use. So when I cut this out, I'm going to cut all the way through the clay and the plastic. So now I have my pattern that I made out of paper, but it's now cut out of the clay, and there's plastic. So on the outside of the form, the plastic's going to be stuck to the clay. And then when I bend it, the reason for using the plastic is that when I bend it, because the clay is compressed to it, it'll bend really evenly, and I won't get a lot of fingerprints, and it'll hold itself up. So first thing I'm going to do is fix the edges. So I'm just using a little bit of water, a damp sponge, and I'm going to go around, and because I like to leave the seam showing, I'm going to clean up the edge of my seam now so that when I go to attach it, it's ready to go. Okay, so now this is going to be bent, And where I put my seam, one side's going to go under and one side's going to go over. And so I have to prepare the edge. So I'm just going to thin, this is the side that's going to go under on my seam, so I'm going to thin this out. And then I have to peel the plastic away just slightly so that I can score this edge and attach it. And then I can go back with this rubber tip tool and reinforce my seam on the inside. Okay, so once I have it rolled into the shape I want and the two parts put together, I can peel my plastic off and clean up the rest of it on the outside and then start shaping it.